So, Frank, I mean, like any memoir, this book is very personal.
Yeah.
If it wasn't, then you didn't do your job as someone writing a memoir. But it's one thing to write this and get it all out, but it's another thing to now think, okay, the world, a lot of people are going to read this.
Yeah.
What emotions do you go through thinking about that aspect of this project?
Great question. What am I going through right now? It's about 10 days since the book, almost 2 weeks. I was really when it first came out, I was fucking scared because I'm being really honest. I left it all out. I don't think I held any. I know I didn't hold anything back. Probably stuff that I probably should have held back, but I put it out there because I thought it could have helped people and stuff that I went through, and I'm finding it because thankfully we're getting great reviews and stuff, and people are writing me comments and letters about how they're connecting with it in their lives, and they're connecting it, and they're saying, "Man, oh, you got through it. That it's given me confidence. I can move on with my life," and that's exactly what I wanted to do. Maybe if I put this out there, maybe if one person, I don't care if I can connect with one person and they can say, look, I'm going to brush myself off and move on, go get some help, go get some therapy, maybe. And it's not a self-help book, but this is my story, and I guess I'm in that reflective kind of vibe going on right now. I think it's really important to pay it forward.
Yeah, and for people that don't know, the subtitle is Fathers, Brothers, and Sons, and it's kind of a running theme. The issues with your dad and your big story about your brother, which is kind of central to the book, and then obviously passing things on to your son. And I'm wondering, has your son read this book yet?
No, it's a great
No.
question. Not yet, because number one, he's 15. He's a sophomore in high school, and they're overloading him. I feel bad for him. Right now, he's upstairs doing homework, projects, everything. They're just overloading. So I gave him the book. Obviously, I said, "This is for you," and I gave him the whole father son thing. This is for when you get older. I want you to look at this book in a different way, and understand that every time you get knocked down in this life, you brush yourself off, Brandon, and you move on. And that's the way to do it. Never say I should have. Always go for it, man. Brush yourself off. If something knocks you down, you move on. See, I didn't have that. I didn't
Yeah.
have that when I was growing up. Somebody to give me a backbone like that, like a father figure. So the women in my life, and that's what it's dedicated to. The book's dedicated to the strong women in my life who actually took that ball and ran with it and raised me to be who I am. Aside from, and also it's a tribute to my brother, the book.
Yeah. Well, one thing that's really, I think, nice about the book is, other common thread is kind of your Italian American Bronx upbringing, which, you talk about, you love the Scorsese movies. And as I'm reading this, I'm picturing you working at the deli and these Goombas coming in with their slick hair. And it's just great. And even the next time I make eggplant Parmesan, I'm going to cut the skin off of it,
Try it, dude.
which
Try it because
I don't really
my
like the
grandmother
skin.
made
So,
it.
yeah.
Just for you guys know, just you know what I'm talking about here. People haven't read the book yet. My grandmother, God rest her soul, she was the angel of life. You'll read the book and you'll understand. She used to make the eggplant parmesan this specific way where she used to cut off the edges so the skin I happen to be allergic to. Some people are allergic to the skin on an eggplant. So what happened is I used to get little rashes. My tongue used to like itch and
Yeah.
stuff like that. It was crazy. Little hives on the lips. So she used to cut it. This is how great she was. She used to cut all around them, and then she would lay them out layer on layer, all with love. And when you bit into that, that was the best taste in life. And I could taste. I'm watering right now just listening to myself. My God, I'm hungry.
The way you painted those pictures of just kind of the rough and tumble blue collar thing, and the New York back in the day, and that was pretty cool too. And it got me thinking about the big four thrash. It's 3/4 of it is California. For though people don't know, Metallica, Megadeth, and Slayer are all California bands. You
Mhm.
guys coming in from the East Coast with a little bit of a different edge, maybe. I mean, I'm wondering how, looking back, how you think being a New York band um, made Anthrax stand apart from other bands in metal. And I mean, I'm just thinking, I don't know if that Public Enemy thing would have happened. It just seems like a New York hip hop thing, but you tell me.
Well, if you think about it, the culture of New York and the whole hip hop thing, it was big. So of course that was going to influence us. I'm very proud of what we've done through our career. To be number one, to be, it's funny. I was just talking And not to name drop or anything, we played this show on Sunday with Metallica headlining, and I had a conversation. I bumped into James Hetfield. I haven't seen him in a while, and I wanted to give him my book because I saw this film he was in, and the segment he did was called Absent, and it inspired me because he talked about abandonment, and it really made it easy for me to say, all right, James talked about it, then I can open up about it. And it almost opened the gate for me. And I told James, thank you. Thank you for doing that. You don't know, it did a lot for me. And I want you, I said, here's the book for you. Is this a thank you to you? Thank you for letting it be easy for me to talk about abandonment the way I did in the book. So it was a big deal to me. So with the Big Four, I think that was a very special thing. These bands coming up together. Metallica didn't need to put that thing together.
Right.
It was a celebration. They're that big of a band where they didn't need, they could fill those places on their own. We all know that. But they were big enough to celebrate this music and the coming up of our bands. We all toured together. That was, for years we've toured together. It was great. So that whole combination was a great celebration. And I love being the New York band. It all added to the pie. When we played Yankee Stadium, who the hell in this lifetime would ever think 4 thrash bands are going to play Yankee Stadium? And think about it. It's absurd to even think about that. And Frank Bello, talk about myself in the third person, the guy that grew up 10 minutes from Yankee Stadium, growing up a diehard Yankee fan. I mean, I was there all the time, the old stadium. So when we got the call that we were playing there, actually it was happening. I'm telling you, I was floating. I was floating on air because all I was worried about, please don't pull it down. I was worried that it was going to get taken away from us. Mm-hmm. So when we actually set foot inside Yankee Stadium and it was happening, the stage was being set, I said, this is going to fucking happen. This is going to, and it was very special. It was another reason why it was special because my grandmother, right, God rest her soul, Tina Bates, who I was just talking about, was very important in my life. It was the last show that she got to see her son, Charlie Benanti from Anthrax, the drummer, and me together on stage, and probably the biggest show we've ever played anywhere in the United States. For us, it was very, very special. She was in a luxury box up there, and I think for me, I feel like it was a thank you. It was a thank you to, we call the Tina Babes lovingly. So it was a thank you to Tina Babe and said, without you and giving us the okay to make this happen, this wouldn't have happened without you. So it was a beautiful moment after the show, hugging her and say thank you. Without you, this doesn't happen. And she gave Charlie and I the go to do what we wanted to do with our dreams. So it was very special.
Parents and grandparents, there's usually a big disconnect between their culture and your own. And I just think I was just thinking before that, when I was a kid, if a CD had an explicit lyrics label on it, I wouldn't even try to get it by my mom. And one of the few I was able to get by was Attack of the Killer Bees. And I don't know how. I think it's because there was no skull, maybe there was some sort, but there was no slayery, demon stuff, But I'm wondering how I'm almost thinking about it comically, but I don't know, how was your grandmother able to relate to your music, or did she, or was she just supportive? And
it was supportive. It was love. It was straight out love, man. And belief that this made us feel good. And Charlie was a great drummer. Remember, I grew up in the same house as Charlie. When my dad took off, I went to live with my grandmother because there was no money. And you'll read the book. There was no money. I was getting beat up every day in the neighborhood we moved to after we lost the house. So I moved in with my grandmother. And that was my oasis. And she was very loving and she was very nurturing with music. Charlie was a great drummer. He played since he's 4 years old. So I saw that. That inspired me. And it made me want to do something in music, play an instrument. It made sense to me. So we started jamming. I started to learn. And that's exactly it. And we grew up together jamming. So it was a really nice thing, a music-filled house. And she would always be very supportive. She didn't say, don't do this. She wanted to make sure that I got my grades, got my diploma and all that stuff. And I graduated at 17 years old and I call it the College of Anthrax. I literally graduated early. I doubled up my credits in my last year. They had this great program that let me double up my credits so I can graduate 6 months early because Anthrax was going on a tour. And I was able to do that tour at 17 years old. And I went right on it and it's been nonstop since then.
Another really cool thing I like about the book is you're able to become friends with a lot of your heroes.
Yeah.
And people when they pick up the book, a lot of times I skip the forward. It's just I don't know why, but people should read this one. It's short and it's by Gene Simmons. So
Absolutely.
it's the connection that Gene has with you. I won't give that away too much. That's a really cool story that goes back decades. But the fact that you were able to be friends with him and the late Lemmy, where you describe he hands you his bass and lets you play it, and Steve Harris from Iron Maiden. I mean, reading that, you really come off as a fan. You say you're a fan, but it seems like you've never become jaded by that thing, and you're still, even though you're in this scene, you're still a fan of your peers.
I'm a fan, and I'll never stop being a fan. I see what I wanted to do with the book. I kind of wanted to take you with me there. My whole intention of the book was when I talked to my co-writer in the very beginning, Joel McIver. I said, "Look, I just want to I want it to be like we're at a
Right.
bar having a pint or coffee, whatever you choose, and we're just telling stories. I just want it like that. Like I'm talking to you one on one, and a lot of people are writing into me about that, and thankfully are getting that vibe. That I just want to take you along on this journey I've been lucky enough to have. I mean, look, I played Lemmy's bass. He put his bass on top of my shoulders and said, "Go for it." I want to take you through that with me. I want to because not everybody's able to do that. So why not take you on this journey? The Kiss thing. I mean, meeting Kiss downtown at a coin management when I was 15 years old. I'm taking you through it. I want you to have this like vision of me being Frank Bello, 15 years old, looking up to the God that is Gene Simmons, and saying, "Can I have an autograph?" And I asked him 1,000 questions, and to come back full circle and have Gene write my forward, and a very beautiful forward, I have to say, for all the Kiss fans out there. I don't think a lot of people heard Gene talk like that.
Yeah.
It's just so beautiful family. And me personally, it's a big deal because I never knew Gene was listening to my bass playing, and that was the ultimate compliment. So when I read it, I was like the 15-year-old kid again. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. So it's a lot of I just want to take you with me on this journey, and that's what I find people are saying. It went fast. They read
Oh
it, and
yeah.
and that's I really love hearing that because that means there's no stopping it. It's just like that journey went on, and I love people saying I didn't want it to end. When I hear that, oh man, it feels great. Uh, um, that's all I wanted to do. I'm not trying to peddling books. I know we have to sell books. I get it, but it does have a message. I'm not a preacher, but it does say that look, you get hit down in life a lot of the times. Life is tough. You get hit down. What you can do, and what I chose to do, was get up, brush off, and move on. And that's what a lot of people are connecting with.
Yeah. And one thing I really like about the book is, I am a fan of Anthrax, so maybe I wouldn't have picked it up otherwise. But
Yeah,
you don't need to be a fan of Anthrax to read the book. It's not a history of the band per se. You could
right.
find that in other places. And
Totally.
if someone is reading your book, they probably know that Joey Belladonna left. John Bush came in. You don't you touch on that, but you don't go ad nauseum about these things that we already know that you could
Yeah, I don't
just
want to be
basically find on
redundant.
Wikipedia.
Exactly. I didn't think it was worth the time for that. There's so much more to tell. There's so
Yeah,
much more great stories that I've been fortunate enough to live. The Pantera stories, like hanging out with,
yeah,
the great crazy party stories. There's a lot of funny stories. The Metallica story, or the Kiss story. This is so many things. I want to bring you with me and have it. Yeah, like this book is peaks and valleys, just like life. But I'm taking you through the great times also that I've been fortunate enough to have it with Anthrax. So I think it's got a little bit of everything, and that's my whole point. It's life. This is life, and this is my life
yeah.
that I've been fortunate enough to have.
You also humanize a lot of people that readers might think kind of have up on a pedestal. A guy like Lemmy, he's intimidating, just to look at, and people like that. And you kind of strip that down a little, I think, and show. I think it's part of your personality because that's how you are, and being a Bronx guy and everything, you're kind of down to earth. But it makes these people seem more like people, more three
Well, they
dimensional,
are. For me, everybody's a person, and what the media builds up is fine, right? I get that's part of the gig. But I guess we've toured so much with Motorhead, and you get friendly. What happens is I was on the stage literally for soundcheck just about every day, watching the way I'm a student of bass. So my thing was to learn this great bass player, Lemmy, how he picked. when the quarter notes, when the full notes, when did he let the chord go? It was so important to me to learn that technique because I want to put it into my playing somehow. I want to learn, man. It's all, and this amazing human being was so kind because he knew I was a fan. And I'm being honest, I was on the side of the stage headbanging like a fan. And because they played different songs during the sound checks. So one day and this is in the book, I'll give you one of the stories. He sees me in the corner of his eye. All right, they stop, they finish the song. He goes, looks over, come here. Like with that voice, with that great Lemmy voice, come here, come here. I'm like, uh-oh, what did I do? I said, I'm in trouble. So I walk over there very gingerly. I walk, hey, Lemmy, how are you? Nice to see you. Takes his bass off, puts it on top of me, puts it right on me, dude. Just like it. Imagine a dream. It's a dream. It's a dream that's happening right then and there. So he puts it on, and he points to his amp. He goes, "Go!" Straight out. He wants me to check out his amp. I said, "Are you sure?" He goes, "Go." I did the Michael J. Fox movie, right? Back to the Future. It was exactly that scene. I go up to his amp. I turn it all the way up to 10. I hit that chord, dude. I bounced back 3 or 4 steps. Boom! And as my 3rd or 4th step, I look over and he's like laughing. I cried because I knew he set me up. It was so cool. It was my honor. It was my honor to do that. That was the loudest amp to this day I've ever heard in my life, and it was a privilege. So I give him the bass back, and then he goes in his pocket. He goes, "Take this. This is the one I play with. Those are just the ones I throw out." I still have that pick. That I will never stop being a fan.
I mean, it's just nice to see some people get jaded and probably have good reason to because of either the way the business treated them or something. But
I mean, look, we all have good days and bad days. But for me, I found out a long time ago, life is very short, and I want to enjoy each moment. And God, man, I'm a lucky, fortunate person right there that was able to do that. I have that embedded in my brain, that wonderful memory, along with a lot of others. And what I wanted to do with the book was share them, because nobody's seen that. So if I can bring this out, make people know how great Lemmy was off stage, he's amazing. I just love the people. He's a hero, and he lived up to it and then some. He was just an incredible person.
Another guy that's kind of, despite his stature, was larger than life is Ronnie James Dio, and fellow Yankee fan. I'm a Yankee fan too, and I don't know if you read his memoir that came out not too long ago.
No, I haven't.
It's really good. Hopefully, there's another one coming.
That should be the next one. Actually,
a lot of it is growing up in New York State, and there's a really funny story in there where he took his name from the name of a mobster named, I believe, Johnny Dio.
I never knew that.
And
I have to read this book.
He got this gig. He would play. They were making good money. Him and his like, maybe he was 19 years old, and they would play in Lake George, New York, for like months at a time. And he told the bartender, "Yeah, that's my uncle," and he never met the guy. And a story comes out of that where. But anyway, Dio, another guy who, he kind of has definitely had a mystique that he built up. Absolutely. with the devil horns and the armor and the dragons and everything. But it sounds like he was another guy, a little different than Lemmy, but another guy that you could just relate to as a human.
Just a beautiful person. My fond memory, I've met and talked to Ronnie, God rest his soul, a lot in my life, and he's been great. The one, one of my favorite times in life for my birthday. It was Ronnie's was the day after mine. Mine was, we were celebrating. We were in Greece. We played with Dio. It was awesome. Anthrax and Dio. So we had this rooftop, and you could see the Acropolis. It was awesome. We had this rooftop bar on top, and you could see this beautiful scene of the Acropolis in Greece. And just it was dreamy. It was like a dream. So we're all up there, band crew, everybody hanging out. So we're talking Yankees, as we do. Ronnie, he knew everything. Ronnie was a very smart man, very schooled in the whole Yankee thing. So I'm pretty schooled in that, growing up in the Bronx and stuff. So he knew that. So we were just talking Yankees, and it just so happened to be both of our birthdays. His was turning midnight. His was going to be happening. So one of my fondest memories in life was Ronnie James Dio buying me a beer for both of our birthdays, and we cheered right at the Acropolis like this: "Happy birthday, Frank! Happy birthday, Ron. I still have that memory and just connecting with the glasses. It's fuck yeah. That for me, again, I wanted to take the reader with through me with that and just feel that because I was so fortunate. Why not share that and make you feel what I felt and how special that was and how great Ronnie James Dio was.
I mean,
Aside from being a great singer, great person.
that story, the Lemmy story, and the camaraderie you had with Pantera. I don't know if you could really speak to this, but because you haven't been a part of these other genres of music, but it seems like there's a brotherhood to bring back the subtitle of the book. But it seems like there's a brotherhood in heavy metal that maybe we don't see in other genres. I'm sure there's some snippiness and some competition, and there should be competition, but it seems like it's kind of this all for one thing in some ways.
I think, look, I've been very fortunate to grow up in this movement of metal. Look, this great, we're like a club almost, like all metal fans. We dress in our leather. We have a specific, almost like uniform. I think it is because we believe in this whole heaviness thing. That angst that we all have, that this music for some reason satisfies. Let's face it, this music, this heaviness of music, satisfies something deep. I know it did for me. I could speak for myself. I related to metal because the sound of it just was fucking everything I felt inside. That angst that I had, that whatever from maybe the abandonment. I've gone through therapy, and maybe it was a big piece of that. The abandonment, and I felt an emptiness that filled the void. That's I don't want to say soothed, but it actually met that angst that I've had growing up, and it was this cool thing that it had a look to it. It had the angst I needed, and I identified with it immediately. And it was a follow. For me, it was like, I'm doing this. It was no doubt in my mind. This is what I'm going to do because this makes me feel the way I want to feel. And it's still to this day, I guess that's what still drives me, the angst that I think will be here until I die. I don't want it to leave because I think it's important to keep my work ethic going like that. It keeps me going and pushing me. That's the drive of metal. I love it. Heavy music in general, all music, but heavy specifically, got me through a lot. It was my outlet. This was a great outlet as I was growing up. I say that in the book, and I'm very thankful for it. Metal fans, we're all like a community.
Yeah.
We all have this cool thing. We talk about other bands to each other, and we connect. We turn each other on to other bands. That's so cool. What other genres do that? Think about it. Metal does that. That's really, really cool.
It's
I cherish the way I grew up.
From watching documentaries and things, to me, it always seemed like in Europe, it was even it was a bigger community, and it was also like a tighter community. And my only experience is a couple of years ago, I convinced my wife it was her lifelong dream to go to Zurich to see Metallica. And
awesome. Wow.
But we wanted to go to Europe anyway. And later I just saw Maiden is playing in Budapest. So I think that's my next cell job. So we'll see.
I tell you, man, I played with Maiden in Budapest.
Oh,
go.
And it's supposed to be a great town. But
they're
just
incredible.
walking to this venue in Zurich, it's whatever soccer stadium it is.
Yeah.
It felt like for a mile, everything just changed. And all of a sudden, everyone's wearing black. People are just drinking beers in the streets. And like, if you're going to a show at Madison Square Garden or something, you walk in, it's a great show, and then you leave. You walk outside, and no one on the street even knows what you just witnessed.
Right.
It just, to me, it seems like Europe. It's like that's really the mecca for this genre.
The celebration, people camp out, and you've seen that more with Americans. Like you're seeing it now more with these festivals. Like
festivals, yeah.
Festivals I just saw. There's a lot of people camping out, which is awesome. So I'm glad to see it carry over. But that's been there for a long time, and I'm very happy about that. I love to see it because they live it. They really live it. It's a lifestyle, and as it is for all of us. Let's face it. This is a lifestyle. I've been on the tour. I've been on tour all my life. That's a lifestyle. So I relate to it. I understand it because they go to the tent, and tomorrow is another show with a whole different variety of bands. They day to day it, man, and I give them credit. It's so cool that they stand because they know this is what is driving them. I think that's so fucking cool, man. And it's still alive to this day, just as big, if not bigger than ever. And can you imagine when all this, hopefully when the COVID thing goes down, when it goes away, prayerfully sooner than later, can you imagine how much touring is going to go on after this? Yeah. I mean, I know I can't wait. Everybody's planning things for next year, hopefully, right? it's going to open up in a big way. All that stuff is going to come, and it's going to be great. I'm looking forward. I'm being very positive about it because I think you have to be at this point.
Yeah, and Anthrax has a bunch of dates in Europe scheduled, right, for next year?
I hate the word tentatively
Yeah,
because my friend,
everything is. Yeah.
everything is because if one person goes down, right, you got
Hmm.
to be really careful. They pull the rug underneath you, and you could lose your shirt. You lose a lot of money. People, the crew can't work. Promoters lose money. It's really tough. So I'm hoping we're in a better position. Everybody, the world. I hope we're in a better position for next year. That's what everybody's planning on. So I'm hoping it happens.
Are you? I think those dates start what, in the summer, or is it the
I think it's the late
late
summer,
summer?
early
So
September.
are you, for the first half of the year? What is? Are you going to spend time working on an album, or
Yes,
okay? So
yes,
tell me what
that's
you
the whole
can about
plan.
that.
We've been writing, and I promised my press agent that we wouldn't talk so much about that, but I could say it in all honesty. We've been working on that. We're very happy with right now. So it's a good vibe. It's a good vein we're in right now. We're in a good place with that. And again, hopefully everything next year is better than was this year. So I hope we all take the step where we need where there could be open tours and tour buses. The other day played Welcome to Rockville on Sunday, and we flew in. It's a weekend war. I call it weekend warrior stuff. You fly in, you play the show, and you have to leave again the next day. I was going to the dressing room in a cart, and I looked at a tour bus, and I hadn't seen one in forever long. I said,
Yeah.
I was kidding around in the van. I said, "Oh, what is that? Is it a tour bus?" It's just it was so foreign to me because I haven't stepped in the tour bus in well over 2 years now, and that is pretty much my life. I've lived on a tour bus my whole life, and to not be anywhere near a tour bus in 2 years is very foreign for me, and very strange.
Um, as bands continue on and on, there tends to be a lot more to look back on than there is to look forward to. Just like in life, I guess. Not to get
Yeah,
too philosophical. So a lot, you have your classic rock package tours, and people want to hear what they grew up with. But one thing about Anthrax, I'll say this for the last Metallica album too, just in my opinion, and Slayer at the end too. There seems to also be a desire to be vital and relevant and current. And I think the last was it For All Kings? Is that the most
yeah,
recent? That's
yes.
one of my favorite Anthrax albums, and it just
Thank you,
the
man.
production on it, and it smacks you in the face, and it's got a lot of energy to it. Is that part of what being a band is all about to you guys, and not just because you don't have to put albums out at this point in your
Of
career.
course.
It might cost you more money, I don't know, than you got back. But let me just ask, why do you still do it? Why do you still create new
Because it's
music?
important to put out new look as a songwriter. You need to get this stuff out, and I'm a fan. I want to see what's next. I want to hear the next great stuff we come out with. I'm a fan of the band. I'm a fan of this music. I think our fans deserve new music. I think they want to hear music. Yeah, we're going to play the Cotton Amash and all that stuff in the set. But when they hear the new song and get turned on by that, and when you see them like singing the words, man, that's what it's all about. That's why you keep going. So I see people singing new songs. Fuck yeah, man! Just keep it real, keep it honest. I can't imagine just living on our past. I like that people, they say you have to play these songs. I like throwing that curveball in this set. You can't play all new songs. I get
Right.
it, but for me, creatively, you have to do that. I can't just tour and not play to play the same old songs. I think it's important to start new with like we have a new cycle coming up, new record. I intend to play those songs. We all intend to play those songs. Hopefully, people will like them and get into them and make it part of the catalog. But yeah, you have to stay fresh, to say the least.
That's one thing, a band that you cite as one of your favorites is Rush, and that's
Oh
one
yeah,
thing I always liked about Rush is because they even their last they would pull out some. I think of their second latest tour, they pulled out some songs from the mid '80s that I thought they maybe even forgot about. They weren't even on my wish list because I figured it was too far
yeah.
fetched. It was like Manhattan Project or something
Oh,
from like the Power Windows, and like I know a lot of
whew,
people don't like that era, but just to me, it's
I
like
do.
just perfect, just perfect.
There's nuggets in there, dude. There's
Yeah,
nuggets. Look, it's not what everybody wants. I get it, but you know
yeah,
what? They're experimenting. For Rush, they can do no wrong to me. You know what I mean? As long as
yeah.
those three guys were together, all good. So I'm gonna give it a chance no matter what. So I mean, yeah, some I was like, all right, but other stuff, man. There's nuggets in there. Come on.
Yeah.
But as long as those three guys were making music, nothing really mattered to me because then when you see them live, you know you're going to get some of those nuggets, and then you can
Yeah,
get some of the fucking classics, you know, Free Will, all the great stuff, all the great stuff. That, you know,
yeah,
I need that. I need that. That's part of the energy that you need, the verve, you know.
yeah. I wanted to ask if, you know, in addition to Anthrax and promoting the book, is there anything else you have in the works? I know you've done some other music
Yeah.
not so long ago, and you've done some acting. If there's anything you have coming up you wanted to
All of the
mention.
above. You know, doing the book thing now, I've written some music. I've actually recorded some music that I didn't know what I was going to do, if I was going to put it out with the book or after the book, because after this, going through this cathartic thing with the book, it opened up a lot of things in my mind. So I started writing during it, and it was really helpful with the book. So I've recorded these songs in the studio and all that stuff. Had some great musicians on it, and yeah, eventually I'm going to release some solo stuff. And if people like the Altitudes and Attitude record
Yeah,
that I did with Dave Ellison, it's right. It's probably like a continuation of that. Like I kept writing just that it could be on those records. So it's kind of like a continuation of that, and I look forward to putting it out the right time. I don't know when, and I'm still writing right now. Anthrax is writing right now with so we're getting together with that stuff again. And as far as the acting, you know, I have an agent who's in LA, and she wants to know when I'm available when you're not touring, because you can't say if you get an audition and you do well in the audition, if you can't do it because you're going on an Anthrax tour, and Anthrax is always number one to me, it's not worth even going. So yeah, I told her I'm open now. So whatever comes, comes.
do you foresee yourself slowing down at any point, or do you kind of like the balance you have right now of things?
Only when you go to the mausoleum, dude. My
Hmm.
book, I have no intention, because the one thing that I really realized from my brother's passing is it goes, life is this short and it goes like that. And I want to live every day, and I want to be creative, and I want to make people feel good. And I just want to have another day, period.
Yeah. Frank, you've been really generous with your time, and I really
Oh, dude,
appreciate.
thank you.
After reading the book, it's great to connect with the
I
man
loved it.
behind the
Dude,
stories.
thank you
So
for getting you got the book. I mean, you understood it, and I
yeah, and I
appreciate spending the
physically
time.
physically have it, and
Thank you, man. I really
yeah,
appreciate it.
it's a great book, and for anyone out there, it's I would say an easy read about a lot of difficult things.
Oh, well
You
put.
know, so
Thank you for that.
you breeze through it, but you don't gloss over the tough thing, and there's going to be something in there anyone could relate to. I mean, for me, I latched onto a lot of the Italian American thing. I mean, I'm not from
Yeah.
the Bronx, but still I could just picture these characters, because
Yeah, you don't have to be from the Bronx. Yeah,
every
you can
town
just
has those people, you know, and it's like,
everybody has somebody like that in their life. That's why they're connecting with it. But
yeah, and
thank you,
there's
dude. Thank you for the
and
kind words. I
there's
really
a lot of
appreciate
humor
it.
in it too. I don't want people to think it's too dark
Yeah,
of a
again,
ride.
there's a lot of
It's
fun, laughing stories in it, and
yeah,
I wanted to be like that. But like in life, you go through peaks and valleys,
yeah,
and I guess the humor makes those painful things easier for me to talk about. You know,
yeah.
so I try to put a little bit of everything in it.
Yeah. Frank, is there anything else we didn't mention about the book, or anything you wanted to?
No, it's available on rarebirdlit.com and Amazon. You can get it, which is awesome. I'm happy about that. And you can ask your local bookstore. It's available all places you get books. Look, I've never done a book. I've never sold a book. I'm used to records and stuff like that. So this is a different thing for me. But I appreciate it. I appreciate you and everybody else giving it a chance. Thank you.
Good. Well, Frank, I really appreciate it, and best of luck with everything. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. You have a great one, man.
All right. Take care.
Peace. Bye bye.